Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. It's Dr. V, and I'm back here with a channeled message that came through last night. And the message is surrender. I feel very emotional today. Because I don't feel like this is surrender, like let go of the connection or anything like that. It's literally about surrendering to the process. But it's also very difficult, as you all know, to surrender because we, as humans, have things that we want. We have things that we desire. We all want to come into union with our partner. So surrendering to the process can be very challenging. But we have to understand that everything has to happen in their own time. And a lot of people who are on this journey have not known love, really truly known love. Many people, just based on our culture and patriarchy and misogyny and toxic masculinity and toxic femininity and all of these things have impacted the way that we do love. And so when we engage in these encounters with our divine counterpart, it shakes us and it rocks us. And because it shakes and rocks us, it often causes us to have a lot of fear. So I want to read something from a book that I just read called All About Love, New Visions by Bell Hooks. And she says, when someone has not known love, it is difficult for him to trust that the mutual satisfaction and growth can be the primary foundation in a coupling relationship. And it says the practice of love offers no place of safety. And when I read that, that's when the message came through about surrender. Really surrender. And it says, true love does have the power to redeem, but only if we are ready for redemption. And I really get what's coming through is like why we're being called to surrender is because we have to recognize that not everybody is on the same path that we are. And we may be ready for redemption. We may be ready for that redeeming love to come through, but our divine counterparts may not be. And we have to surrender and allow them the space to have their own process. John Welwood said, a soul connection is the resonance between two people who respond to the essential beauty of each other's individual natures behind their facades and who connect on a deeper level. This kind of mutual recognition provides the catalyst for a potent alchemy. It is a sacred alliance whose purpose is to help both partners discover and realize their deepest potentials. While a heart connection lets us appreciate those we love just as they are, a soul connection opens up a further dimension, seeing and loving them for who they could be and for who we could be under their influences. In all cases where individuals felt that they had known true love, everyone testified that the bonding was not easy or simple. And finally, Bell Hooks says, true love accepts the person who is now without qualifications, but with a sincere and unwavering commitment to help him to achieve his goals of self-unfoldment, which we may see better than he does. And finally, this is the last part. Wounded hearts turn away from love because they do not want to do the work of healing necessary to sustain and nurture love. Many men especially often turn away from true love and choose relationships in which they can be emotionally withholding when they feel like it, but still receive love from somebody else. So when I was reading this last night, that message surrender came through. The other thing that came through was, and I've mentioned this before in my readings, so you guys are familiar with this, is the movie Fools Rush In with Salma Hayek and Matthew Perry. There's a scene where she goes to her grandmother's house in Mexico, and she's, running away from this connection that she has with him. And the grandmother says to her in Spanish, she says, you will never know love unless you surrender to it. And that's what we're being called to do right now, is to surrender our desires and our expectations, and to recognize that maybe at this current time our partners are not ready for the alchemy of love that we're offering. Maybe they're not ready to engage in this the way that we want them to engage in this, and we're being asked to surrender our attachments, surrender our expectations, surrender the desire to come together. I know that that is very difficult, but true love is not about clinging. True love is truly about letting go. True love is about allowing people their time and their ability to have their own process, and giving them the space to do it without pressure, without expectations, without the desire weighing on them to come back and be who we want them to be or who we think we need them to be. That is not love. Love is true love. Real love is releasing expectations, releasing attachments, and allowing what is to be. So the message that Spirit wants to come through right now, for those that are watching this video, if it resonates for you, is to really truly surrender. Surrendering is, again, it's not about detaching. Detaching is like I almost call it like it feels more violent. I'm talking about non-attachment. It's like swimming, right? If someone's drowning, for instance, and they struggle, it actually makes it harder to save them. When they surrender and they allow themselves to be helped, then they can be saved. Sorry, I'm feeling this very deeply right now. I'm not sorry, but I apologize for the delay in my communications. We have to surrender. We have to let ourselves just float and trust that the universe is going to do what the universe is going to do. And if that means that we don't come together in this lifetime, that's what it means. We have to release that. We have to release those expectations and those attachments and allow what is to emerge. And again, I keep getting, I'm not saying, and please don't hear that I'm saying that unions aren't happening, that people aren't coming together, because I don't think that's the case at all. But what I'm saying is that our desperate clinging, and it may not be a desperate clinging, but just holding on to the expectations, holding on to the desire, is actually causing us and our partners to drown. So we really need to surrender and give them the space to be able to work through whatever it is that they need to work through, and we need to work through whatever it is that we need to work through, not in order to come into union, but in order to ascend. We're looking at those of us that are called to twin flame journeys are given the task of elevating consciousness, elevating humanity. That is not an easy task. It's not something that's simple or easy to accomplish. And in order to do that, we have to transform ourselves. We have to transform our beliefs and the paradigms and the ways in which we see relationships and the ways in which we see love. And so we have to start with us first. And the first, literally the foundation of that is surrender. It's surrendering our expectations and letting things be what they are. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pull some cards for this message around surrender. I am feeling so emotional because surrendering is really about disattaching. It's about having that space of non-attachment, and it's about letting someone fly and giving them the freedom to fly. And it's difficult because I, like all of you, really want things to come together. I want things to be, the dream that I have tasted and have felt. But I recognize that my agenda may not be Spirit's agenda, and so I'm really consciously working on surrendering and getting into a space of non-attachment and allowing things to be what they are. And if it means that our connection remains friendly and it remains what it is, then that's what it will be. And simply staying in the space of being grateful for even having had the experience of knowing true love, even if it was for a short period of time, even if it never comes back. So I'm going to use the John Holland Psychic Tarot of the Heart. I just got this deck and I really like it. one more shuffle. Spirit, some messages for this channeled message of surrender, please. Spirit, some messages for this channeled message of surrender, please. The first card that comes up is the throat chakra. The next one is believe and succeed. The next one is listen. The next one is flow. And this one is move. Gosh, you guys, I'm feeling so much emotion right now. I feel like I could just cry, and I'm not even sure why. Like, I took a bath and, meditated and did all of that, but I'm still feeling a ton of emotion. So, the first card is the throat chakra, which is all about communication, right? It's all about speaking your truth and listening to your intuition. It's about creativity, of course, communication, etc. My kid is texting me relentlessly right now. I'm like, stop texting me. And so I feel like this is about really truly staying in your truth, speaking your truth if you need to speak your truth to your divine counterpart. And it's also about listening to your inner intuition, your inner wisdom, and trusting what's coming out. So speaking your truth doesn't necessarily mean that you speak it to your counterpart. Communication does not have to take place in the 3D in order for you to communicate. You can communicate spiritually. You can write a letter and burn it. You can do a number of things to speak your truth. And so I feel like what it's saying is, like, speak your truth. Speak your truth to your divine counterpart, whether that's in the 5D through meditation, whether it's writing a letter, whatever. Speak your truth and then literally surrender the connection. Really just say, like, I love you and I will always hold space for you and I'll always be here should you decide to come back, but I release you to your own free will. I release you to your path, to what you want to do. I surrender expectations. I surrender my desires. I surrender to this, and I release you fully and completely to move into your own path and do what's right for you, even if it takes you away from me. So the next card that came up was believe and succeed. And this is all about having faith. Okay, so faith is about trusting and believing in something even though you don't see it. It's like believe in yourself, believe in the power of the connection, and also staying in that space of surrender. So what just came up for me is Mary, the mother of Jesus, when Jesus was being crucified. She knew that this was that this was part of the plan, that this was something that had to happen. But can you imagine being there and watching your child get beaten beyond recognition and then be nailed to a cross? Can you imagine the pain that she must have been feeling in that moment, knowing that this was her child, that she had birthed, how much she loved him, knowing the gifts and the healing that he was to bring to the world, and not really understanding. I'm sure that she was like, I don't understand why this has to happen this way. Seeing him in so much pain, but knowing that there was a higher purpose, and having to trust in that and having to surrender. So it's like we're being asked to surrender in the same way that Mary was asked to surrender, to go into that space of total and full trust and faith, and knowing that even if it looks bad right now, even if it looks like it's not going to come together, or even if you don't understand why things are the way that they are, recognizing that there is a higher purpose and there's a higher plan and there's something that to be learned through this. So that's what this is saying, is like have faith Have faith in yourself, have faith in your counterpart, and have faith in the universe. Trust that no matter what happens, that it's for the highest good of all those concerned, and surrender to that. Let go of the grasping and the clinging to attachments and your desires, because that's actually hindering the process. So the next card that came out is Listen. And this card is in the traditional tarot, the High Priestess. So this is, you know, really coming into that higher knowing. It's like getting into really going internally, contemplating, quieting the mental chatter, quieting all of the is she going to come back? What's going to happen? All of that stuff that tends to happen. Really get into a space of listening and surrendering and allowing what is happening to happen. If you're in communication with your counterpart, this is also saying, like, try not to listen so much to the words that they're saying and listen to the energy that they're giving, if that makes sense, because they may be saying, like, I don't want this connection, or I'm choosing to stay with my karmic partner, or whatever, but their energy is probably more than likely saying something very different to that. So really listen to listen to your heart, listen to your intuition, and listen to what the messages that are coming through from your higher self and from their higher self, instead of listening to your fears and trying to, you know, force your agenda. Okay. Pay attention to body language, listen to the tone, really trust, surrender, and listen to your inner knowing, because we all have that gift. We all have the gift of inner knowing. We just have to listen to it. And as we listen to it, we'll hear what's really being said, because they may be saying, like, I'm not, this isn't going to work for me, or whatever. They may be giving you a message, I'm not ready. But then their energy is saying something different. Like, if you tap into and you feel their energy, it's like, you know, often like longing, maybe some regret, maybe some sorrow. And so really use your intuition, tap into that, and go into a quiet meditative space. Like, part of this surrender is really letting yourself go into that quiet contemplative space where you can get in touch with your higher self and with your inner wisdom. So the next card that came out is Flow. I mean, this is literally, it goes in perfectly in alignment with what I was saying with the drowning and the swimming. It's like floating, right? The going with the flow is just floating. It's like you don't fight the current, you don't fight the waves, you just lie there and you float, and you go wherever the currents want to take you. And this is what Spirit is asking you to do right now, is go with the flow. This is the Wheel of Fortune in the traditional tarot. And it's like, trust that everything that is happening is taking you closer to the destination that you're meant to end, where you're meant to be. Everything is happening for your highest good, for your counterpart's highest good, for the connection's highest good, and for the highest good of humanity. But you have to go with the flow. You have to, again, I just, like, what's coming to the visual is like literally like seeing people just like laying back and surrendering and like floating through the air, and just being with the current of the energies and flowing with that, and knowing that when you stay in a space of non-resistance, you actually go further, and not only do you go further, but you go further with less anxiety and less stress. You're just like, hey, I'm just going with the flow. I'm just, I'm here for whatever shows up, and I'm going to do my thing and be the best version of myself in this process. And that's just how it's going to be. Focus on your desires for sure. I'm not saying surrender or let go, or, get off this twin flame journey at all. I'm saying just surrender to it and go with the flow. So continue visualizing, coming together, continue visualizing the love that you deserve and that you desire. Continue doing all of those things, in a space of non-attachment, in a space of surrender, with the idea of like, this would be great. I'd love for this to happen. It would be wonderful if if this were to come to fruition. But if it doesn't come to fruition, I'm going to be wonderful and great all on my own. And the last card that came out is Move. This is the Chariot card in the original tarot. It's saying, now is the time to be proactive regarding matters of the heart and take advantage of the many ways to meet your soulmate. This card is about action, action, action. Okay, but let me be very clear about this, because this message came through last night too, that this is not about, chasing after your divine counterpart, not in any way, shape, or form. I mean, the energy that I'm getting literally is about surrendering and releasing them to the care of the universe. Just like Mary did when she was letting Jesus do what he needed to do to be crucified. It was like, I'm surrendering him like into your hands, God. I'm giving it to you. And it's literally what I'm seeing it happening here, is people saying like, God, I'm giving this to you. I'm surrendering it to you, and releasing, trusting whatever is meant to be will be. But this Move energy is what came to me last night. Is like, when I was meditating and sitting with this message, this channeled message, was like, what if the only thing that was keeping you from coming together with your divine counterpart is your limiting beliefs and your limiting behaviors and the things that you're not doing? Like, what if the only thing that is stopping you is that you haven't cultivated a really disciplined meditation practice? What if it's that you're not saying your affirmations and doing your visualizations? What if it's that you're not journaling, or you're not doing the things that you know to do, the inner work that needs to be done? What if you're not facing your own codependence and your own the energies that keep you bound? What if you could shift this connection literally just by doing your own inner work? If that was the space, this is what Spirit was saying to me, if that's the case, why aren't you doing it? Not me necessarily, because I've pretty, not that it's perfect, but I'm pretty good at cultivating that. Though I've cultivated some practices in my life that have really helped me. But I'm asking you that, and Spirit's asking us that. What if the only thing that's stopping this from coming to pass right now is your own resistance to doing the things that you know you should be doing? What if you cultivated these practices? What if you joined the 90-day Glow Up Challenge and you cultivated these practices? You don't have to join the 90-day Glow Up Challenge. It's just a venue, it's just an opportunity. What if the only thing stopping this union coming together is you not praying for the highest good for your divine counterpart every day? Would you do that? Would you shift it if you knew that all you had to do was take action in these areas in order to shift the connection? And literally, that's what has to happen. That's what has to happen. That's what this card is saying. This action, this Move card is saying, you have the power to do this. You have the power, like that song, I've got the power. You have that power to do that. You are a powerful creator in your own right. You are made of the same stuff that God is made of. Like, it's like if you believe in the creation story, which I really don't, but either way, it's like, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and God stepped out, and he stepped out on nothing and created everything. You have that power. You're one with God. You're one with the divine. You have the ability to speak and create, to visualize, imagine, and create your own reality. So why aren't you doing it if you're not? Continue to do this work. This is what this is saying, is this time of surrender is really about surrendering into doing the practices and really doing the work to heal yourself. Because I do feel, I've been saying this for a while, that union is imminent, okay? There are a lot of people that are going to be coming into union soon. There's going to be a lot of shifts that happen over the next 2 months, especially. I feel like May and June are going to be very significant months. So if you can just look at yourself, just do some self-reflecting about these cards and about this message, and see where are some areas that I could, step my game up and do better in my life. What energies do I need to shift? What do I need to do? And focus on that. Focus on, organizing your house, cleaning out your drawers, getting things together in your home, getting your paper right, stacking your pentacles, all of those things. Really focus on yourself and and just trust and release and surrender the connection, surrender your divine counterpart to the hands of God, and have that faith, that believing, that faith that it will come together if that's what's meant to happen. But in the meantime, you're going to just cultivate and create your own magical reality, cultivating the practices and the things that are necessary to be a high vibe person on this planet. So I'm going to move these cards aside, and I'm just going to pull a few more from the John Holland Psychic Tarot of the Heart, because I want to see if just feel into the energies a little bit more. Spirit, can we get some more messages regarding surrender? Spirit, more messages regarding the message of surrender. Spirit, more clarity regarding this message of surrender, please. Okay, one more. First card that came out is Deception and Envy. The next one is the crown chakra. I don't know about you guys, but I had some crazy crown chakra shit happening this week. Disruption, that's the Tower card in the original tarot. Fulfillment of wishes. And authority. Respect my authority. Sorry, you guys know I can't keep things too serious for too long. So the first card is Deception and Envy. It's that someone's wearing a false mask in the relationship. And I am very, very clear about this. What this message is that what the first message that came through when I saw that card is literally about, like how I was saying earlier, that your divine counterpart may be saying things like, well, I don't want this connection. I don't want to be with you, or I don't want whatever, I can't leave my karmic situation, or whatever it might be. But that is literally about, they're not telling like what they're not being honest. So the deception is not about like they're lying to you about something. I don't get that energy at all. What I get is that they're not being honest with themselves, and they're not really being honest with you about their true feelings in the connection. The true feelings of the connection that I get is literally that the person who is in like what we would call the runner energy, the one who is not coming forward into this connection, is really more in a space of fear. And because of that fear, it's impacting how they're interacting. And so it's like just not being totally candid about those feelings. It's like they're like on the inside, they're like, or their higher selves or their deeper knowing is like, I love you, you're amazing, you're the love of my life, that kind of stuff. But they're saying something different. And that's because they're, again, going back to the book that I read in the beginning, that there's a lot of the runners who simply just don't trust that this is real. They simply are not in a space of trusting that this is real. They're accustomed to having people who manipulate them, or whose love is conditional, and they don't believe necessarily that this is real. And so they're trying to run from it because they are afraid, because it brought up a lot of shit for them that they're not quite sure that they're ready to face. And so that's the energy that I'm getting for that. And it's literally about allowing them the freedom to have their own path, to do their own thing, and for us to not be so, those of us that are watching, to not be so married to the outcome. Or putting any pressure. And even if you're not saying anything, like I said before, energy speaks before anybody opens their mouth. So it's like if you're saying all the right things, but your energy is pressure, they're going to feel that and they're going to respond to that. So you've got to make sure that your energy is on point. So that's that card. The next card that came up, this card also suggests like rapid changes and unexpected things happening. It's all it could be, I mean, that's the energy of that card. Just to a side note that this one suggests rapid change and things coming to a head. So this one, the crown chakra, this ties back again to what I was saying earlier about getting more in touch with your higher self, going within, meditating, opening your crown chakra so that you're more connected to spirit. It's also tied to the High Priestess card that we pulled earlier. It's not the High Priestess in this card, it's this card, the Listen card. It's, or in this deck rather. So it's really about doing that work and going within and opening your crown chakra to be able to access those higher messages. As I mentioned, I had some crown chakra activation happening this week that was so intense that, I was like, I had just like a throbbing headache it was like on the left side of my head, and then like literally right on the top of like where my crown chakra is. And it was just so bad that I don't usually take like over-the-counter medicine. That's just not something I do. And I actually ended up taking some Tylenol because it hurt so bad. The Tylenol didn't help. What helped was like meditating and going to bed, but that I knew I tweeted it out. I was like, oh, my crown chakra is like opening and it hurts like hell. But so there's a lot of you. Let me know in the comments if you've had that experience, if you were feeling that energy as well. But this is what's happening, is that we're ascending, we're rising up. So if you're having those ascension symptoms, that's a good thing. It means that you're doing your work and you're doing what you need to do. But you're also going to be getting more and more information and more wisdom coming through spirit, through your crown chakra, that will help you and guide you along this journey. The next card that came out was the Disruption. This is the Tower card in the original tarot. And as I said, this card suggests like unexpected and rapid changes. And this one also suggests unexpected and rapid changes. So I get the feeling that there is going to be massive changes that are going to happen here very soon. It could be that there's some deception and envy deception that comes to light, where somebody wasn't being honest, and those things come out, and they have to, it's like they're forced to deal with it. And that may be part of what contributes to the Tower energy. But things like these ego structures that have been built, these belief systems that have been in place for somebody to maintain their illusions about life are coming down. So don't be surprised. Like, I get this energy happening. Let me feel into it a little bit more. I feel like for a lot of people that these Tower moments are going to start happening very soon. Like within the next 7 to 10 days, that there will be a lot of people who are having these Tower moments. It may be you that are having the Tower moments, but I also get really strongly that it's for the person, the counterpart of the person who's watching is going to be dealing with some big ass Tower moments, that things are going to fall down, things are going to crumble, because as you surrender and release your expectations and let go and put it into God's hands, like God, the universe is like, there's free will up to a certain point, but your soul agreed to a certain contract. And if you're not fulfilling that contract, then Spirit's going to do what Spirit needs to do to make sure that things get taken care of. So that is the energy that I'm getting from that, is that, this is going to happen. And if you have a Tower moment in your life, you just really trust in that and really surrender to the process, because, again, it all is happening for our highest good. But yeah, things are definitely, like, false masks are going to be falling off. Things are going to be exposed. Belief systems are going to be interrupted. There's going to be a lot of that energy that's happening. But when it happens, what's going to come as a result is this Authority card. So this is number 4, is like 4s are stability, foundations, planning for the future, having good structure. That's what those cards are. That's what the number 4 suggests. And this one is, in the traditional tarot, is the Emperor card. So this is like literally somebody stepping up into, like I always say, it's like somebody's like gonna king up. So when all of this stuff happens, it's like there's going to be this space of like, okay, do I retreat back into my old ways of being and try to reconstruct my life and my existence from this energy. No, what's going to happen is that this energy is really going to force them to step into their authority, into their power, into their divine energy, to be able to rebuild from a more authentic space. Okay, it's like yes, it's about even if your divine counterpart is a divine feminine, for those that are watching, the divine feminines also have to be able to access their divine masculine energies, and when it's time to build and put things together. So the divine masculine energy is about action and forward movement and things like that. And so if you're a divine masculine watching this and you have a divine feminine counterpart, well, the divine feminine is going to have to, after this tower moment, is going to have to step into their own authority, getting out of that space of emotion and stuckness and feeling like they can't move forward, and step and literally, like I said, kinging up and being like, okay, well, this is my kingdom. Like, I need to, what do I need to do to bring restoration to the kingdom that I have built? And that's where they will step. So this is all serving this, all of this is serving, getting to this, which then leads to this, the fulfillment of wishes. So as you continue to surrender and as you continue to release the energies of this, of the expectations, and allow the divine to take the reins, like Jesus take the wheel, it's leading, things are going to be intense, things are going to fall apart, but they're going to step into their power, and it's going to lead to the fulfillment of wishes. For both parties, it's going to be like, as an example, like someone that's been in a situation where they're like, afraid of this connection because it brings up too much, and so they tell you that they don't want it or whatever. Like when this tower happens and they get down, like kind of get knocked on their ass, then they are going to be able to step into their honest authority and be like, you know what, this is what I want, this is exactly what I want, I know who I want to be with, I know where I want to invest my energies, and it'll bring them closer to fulfilling the fulfillment of wishes. So because this is a reading around surrender, I'm going to use I'm going to pull some final messages from the Language of Letting Go cards by Melanie Beatty. She is the author of Codependent No More, and she does a lot of codependence work, which is really beautiful. But this is, I'm not suggesting codependence at all at this, although there may be some of that. This is just simply messages from the universe on how to support you in your journey to surrender and to release. Like I said, I would suggest writing a letter and something along those lines, and then doing really a releasing ceremony where you write a letter perhaps and release your divine counterpart into the hands of the universe and the divine, and then go outside to a safe space or to a fire pit or something and burn it. Literally release that energy, release that attachment, release that, all of that, and then focus on yourself, focus on your own growth, focus on your own spirituality, your own healing, your own transformation in ways that you haven't done before. So let me move these cards aside. Yes. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, these messages mirror exactly what we were talking about. The first one is enjoying life. And it says, today I will do something just for the fun of it. I will find something to do that's just for me, and I won't worry about what I should be doing. I will learn how to make myself feel good, enjoy life to the fullest. The next one is acknowledging my desires. Today I will release the belief that my needs are never met. I will acknowledge my desires, then turn them over to my higher power. My wants and needs are not an accident. God created them when He created me. And the last one is being direct. Today I will own my own power and be direct, and I will be clear and honest with my dealings with other people. If I'm comfortable with my own truth, then those around me will be comfortable with me too. So that literally is like we talked about, that there was a communication card about that came up. So this is these messages are perfect reinforcement or mirroring of what the messages that came through earlier. So this is like, go out and enjoy your life. If you've been in this space, if you've been feeling like depressed, or if you've been in a space of really just focusing a lot on the connection, this is saying really go out and enjoy your life. Fill your life with fun things that make you feel good, so that you can, because that's what you need to do. That's get yourself unstuck. The next one is acknowledging your desires and then surrendering it to God. So it's like, God, I really want this to come to pass, but I'm releasing my agenda. I'm releasing my attachment to my desires, and I'm trusting that what's meant for me will come for me. And then the last one is being direct. Be very clear in your communications. Own your power. You don't feel like you don't have to hide. You don't have to deny anything. Just be very honest, okay? Learn to get more and more comfortable with your truth, and speak your truth as necessary when it comes up. And doing so will actually give other people, including your divine counterpart, permission to do the same. So I hope this reading was helpful for you. Please let me know, comment below, and I look forward to connecting with all of you. If you have the desire to have your own private reading, please feel free to reach out to me. All the information is below in the description box. And if you have quick questions, feel free to reach out to me on Instant Go. If you don't have Instant Go, we can email me and we'll work out different ways. Alrighty, everybody, I will talk with you soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.